Access to the internet's been restored in Tanzania after a several-day shutdown, after protests following the re-election of the country's president, Samia Suluhu Hassan. She's insisted the election was free and fair after being declared to have won 98% of the vote. People in Tanzania have been sharing images of dead bodies strewn on the streets after the violence that came after the election last week. She has blamed outsiders for the unrest that followed the election. Opposition parties claim hundreds of people died during protests, and that figure, the government says, is exaggerated. Let's speak to our Africa correspondent, Barbara Plett-Usher, who's on the border between Kenya and Tanzania. And Barbara, what picture is emerging of the violence that came after that presidential election?
Well, the pictures are emerging very slowly after the internet had been cut off for 5 or 6 days. We did have a human rights group in Kenya at the weekend which showed images, footage that it said came from Tanzania, and that was absolutely shocking. It showed bodies piled in the streets, and apparently at one of the hospitals. We weren't able to verify that, but if more of those kinds of images come out, then it seems likely that this issue, the election, the unrest over the election will continue in some form. We spoke to a human rights lawyer yesterday who's based in Tanzania, and he said people are in mourning. They've lost loved ones. Some of them they are not able to bury because of the situation. Some of them they're not able to find. So that is what's going to be the immediate preoccupation now that things seem to be returning more to normal. But he also said that the protests would continue, or resistance would continue, because he said the government had turned its guns on them. Now, as you said, the authorities have said these are exaggerated claims. They said they were responding to pockets of criminal activity, that their response was reasonable and necessary. But we shall see over the next weeks how the Tanzanian people decide or evaluate what's happened.
And the big question, Barbara, how a presidential candidate who claims to have won 98% of the vote has faced such protests and unrest?
It is a crucial question, isn't it? Especially because she's claiming that she's got more than double, nearly triple the number of votes that her predecessor got. Also that there had been reports of many of the polling stations being nearly empty. As Southern African election monitors said, in some of the polling stations there were more police than voters. Also their evaluation was that most people had not been able to exercise their democratic will because of censorship, because of a crackdown on the opposition. I think the conclusion to draw from that, and what many people might be thinking, is that these numbers are exaggerated, that the president clearly wanted an emphatic win. Now, analysts say that she needed to have an emphatic win because of she was facing dissent in her party. She took over from the previous president when he died in 2021, and they say that she was opposed by his powerful allies, especially because she's a woman. That may or may not be the case, but it will remain to be seen if she can convince Tanzanians that she is in fact a legitimate leader.
Barbara, thank you very much. Barbara Plett-Usher on the Kenyan border with Tanzania.